we can get very excited about feelings and intuitive hits and following our gut, which is incredibly important. And sometimes we're confronted with roadblocks. And sometimes part of our spiritual lessons are some confrontations, like spiritual confrontations. Even just moving out here to Las Vegas, it's been about 5 years, but there was an intuitive hunch that I had that Nick and I needed to leave Washington, D.C. And we left to start a different life. And when we started this new life, it was a lot harder than what I was anticipating. Because I thought, okay, if it's meant to be, I feel very strongly that my intuition is telling me this is it, then everything will align right away, like the snap of my finger. And it didn't happen like that. Looking back, things did actually align relatively quickly, but it took months. And when we're in the thick of it, months can feel like a very long time, even when in retrospect it isn't. And so I remember being in a yoga class, and it was one of them that I woke up to go to at like 4:30 in the morning. It was a Bikram yoga class. I remember at the end laying down in Savasana and yelling at the universe. I don't think I had a concept of spirit guides at that point, but I just remember just being so angry because I felt abandoned. And all I needed to do was hang in there and surrender, because I was trying to make my experience of the move a certain way. Meanwhile, everything was working out in a much better way than I could have conceived. I just needed to hang in there. So I think that lesson, and I'm talking to myself here, I think still applies to my experience from this last Friday, which wasn't a complete disappointment. It just didn't meet my expectations, and it didn't meet my expectations because I was trying to make the experience a certain way. I can't be the only one that does this. If anyone is feeling brave enough to share, I would love to read anything in the comments that you're willing to share about anything that may resonate with you from what I've been talking about. If you've been through a situation where you've kind of been angry or disappointed with the universe after, following some guidance or your intuition. And then also, if anyone out there is also struggling with completely surrendering, maybe we can prop each other up, send each other some good vibes and all that jazz. And then, just so you know, I've said this in my previous episodes too, but I do hope to open the phone lines to callers so that we can share this in real time. It would really help me actually if you, on whatever platform you're listening to this, whether it's Blog Talk Radio or iTunes or YouTube or any of the other platforms this ends up going on, if you can press the like button or the follow button, that does help me to know that people are listening. And when I know that there are people who are listening, and I have a little bit more time to really fully figure out the platform for going live, then I would love, love, love to go live and chat with you. So yeah, press the like button or follow, and then also comment if you like. So things that I am into right now, I learned about something called the triad wave. Someone named Brenda Williams has brought this forth into the world with the help of a bunch of other people. And so that would be something interesting if you have time or would like to learn more about the triad wave. Just Googling, or don't use Google, I use Ecosia. Just search Brenda Williams triad wave, and you can learn a little bit more. But it's supposed to help humans, all of us, come back to how we are supposed to operate, just naturally. And it works using scalar wave technology. And so I've been listening to some music, just some free music on YouTube that I've been able to find. And even listening to it around the house, I will have it really low if I'm listening to something else or if my son is sleeping. But just to bring some harmonizing energy into the air. And then this doesn't quite fit into the things that I'm into right now category, but in my preparation for sitting with ayahuasca, I had to follow some diet guidelines, just to conserve energy and to open or actually keep my body and energy open for more spiritual experiences, which I guess with the story that I just shared, you wouldn't think that it worked, but I did have, even before ayahuasca, the ceremony, I did have quite a bit of more sort of like psychic and intuitive hits that were happening all week. But the point I'm trying to get to is I learned as part of this that garlic and onion can get in the way of our intuitive abilities. And part of that made sense, or at least it helped me connect the dots to something when I was working in the international sphere. I had to spend about 3 weeks in Thailand, and I had already been vegan at that point. And I like to learn at least a few phrases in a language when I go to another country. And it was important for me to be able to also communicate that I would like vegan food, or to ask if something was vegan. And as I was doing the research to figure out how to say this in Thai, I learned that the way to say it in Thai also includes onion-free and garlic-free. And it is a more of a spiritual way of eating there, particularly the Buddhist monks follow that diet, so they avoid garlic and onion. And I had kind of wondered why, but not enough to really dig deep. But now, just learning and following this for the last week, it helped me connect the dots. And I'm wondering if anyone has a very specific experience with this. I did ask one of my friends who is psychic what she thinks about it, and she doesn't seem to be affected by garlic and onion. So maybe it's not as strong, or maybe it doesn't affect everybody the same way. But it's been kind of interesting knowledge, very difficult in terms of me preparing dinners. Cooking without onion and garlic has been very interesting because it seems all pervasive. It's in almost every meal. However, I have been avoiding it for the last almost 2 weeks, and it's actually been quite nice. I do feel like I am a little bit more tuned in. I just don't know how sustainable this is. I am curious if any of you have heard of this before, and if so, have you followed this? Do you still follow this? I would love to hear other experiences. And you know what? I think that about rounds out the show. So again, as we grow here, I will open the phone lines. I promise. I just would love to make sure that there are people who are listening and who would want to talk. So if you would love to call in the future, hang in there, and also press like and the follow buttons. Expect me back here again next Tuesday, and take really good care.